We are ready to call to order our joint meeting of the City Council, Successor Agency to the Redevelopment Agency, Public Finance Authority, Public Utility Authority, Housing Authority, Paris Joint Powers Authority, and the Paris Community Economic Development Corporation of the City of Paris. This Tuesday, January 11th, 2022. The call time is 6:33 p.m. Madam Clerk, can we have roll call, please?
Sure. Councilmember Rogers,
Here, present.
Councilmember Nava,
Present.
Councilmember Corona,
Present.
Mayor Pro Tem Rab,
Present.
Mayor Vargas.
Present, thank you. And for those of you who are joining on Zoom, if you'd like to make a comment, public comment on the Zoom screen, please click on the participants button at the bottom of your screen. A list of participants will appear on the right side of the screen. At the bottom of this list, please click on the gray raised hand button. This will signal to the host that you would like to provide public comment, and you will be added to the list. If you are using Zoom on your smartphone, tap your screen. A new screen will pop up with the list of participants. Look for the raise hand button on the screen. And for those of you who are calling in using a phone line, simply dial *9 on your keypad to signal that you would like to make a comment. Okay, with that, we're going to move to item 3, which is our invocation, which will be given by Pastor Bob Ibarra from the Calvary Chapel, Paris Valley. And if you remain standing for our Pledge of Allegiance, which will be led by Council Member Rogers.
Mr. Mayor, City Council, staff, and those that are here, I wish you a Happy New Year as well. I'm not just praying for today, but also for your whole year of decision-making. Heavenly Father, I do thank you, Lord, for your hand being upon this city, upon the council members, upon the staff, upon those that have to be attentive and aware of the needs of the city. Lord, as they look to be true servants of the community, may they, Lord, be given the wisdom that they need, the understanding that's so necessary, but also, Lord, the insight for the future, to have a vision, not just to respond to the things that they are facing today, but to have a vision for this year. And Lord, as we look towards this year with all the unknowns, I know, Lord, that you will give them the response that they need to make the right decisions that are based on truth and the things that are most necessary. So, Lord, bless them family, bless them in their health, as well as in their endeavors, and also, Lord, as they look to represent and the people of the city to make the decisions that they have before them. In Jesus' name I pray, amen.
Amen.
God bless all of you.
Thank you.
Please join me as we salute our nation's flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Pastor. And folks, it's been a while, but just so everybody understands, we are, due to the recent surge of the Omicron variant and what have you, we are practicing social distancing again. Everybody is present. We have Mayor Pro Tem and an outer office from the council chambers, as well as Councilwoman Rogers, that will both be zooming in. Okay, with that, we're going to go to item 5, which is our closed session items. Mr. Dunn?
Thank you, Mayor. The council met in closed session to discuss the 3 items noted on the agenda, and no reportable action was taken tonight.
Thank you. Our presentations and announcements have been postponed. Both items A and B will be given at a later date. Item 7 is our Youth Advisory Committee communications. This report will be given by Savannah Herrera, the president of our Youth Advisory Committee.
Honorable Mayor, members of the City Council, and City staff. Good afternoon. I am YC's President, Savannah Herrera. Today, I will be providing an update on YC's latest and upcoming events. In light of raising COVID cases, YC has taken precautions and will now have weekly virtual meetings. YEC will begin meeting virtually on January 18th via Zoom. Moving forward, YEC is excited to participate in the annual Snow Day on Saturday, January 29th. YEC takes part in Snow Day every year by assisting in the snow pits, sledding area, and the crafts table. This year will be no different with the various activities we will aid. Furthermore, the next park cleanup will take place on Saturday, February 19th at Rotary Park. We want to focus on beautifying the parks around Paris. The next park cleanup is a step towards the right direction to bettering our parks. In particular, YEC would like to bring awareness to National Blood Donor Month. Every January, there is a surge of rising cases of flu, cold, and this year COVID. This leads to significant blood shortage. Stopped by your local blood drive can only help someone ill. Finally, YEC would like to remind everyone to please follow us on social media at Paris YEC for more updates and upcoming events. For more important information YEC has discussed today, feel free to dial the Statler Youth Center. YEC would like to remind everyone to please wear a mask and remain healthy. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Item 8 is our public comment. Madam Clerk, do you have any requests to speak?
No, sir.
IT, is there anybody online?
No, sir.
Thank you. Item 9 is approval of minutes. 9A is consideration to approve the minutes of the regular meeting held on December 14th, 2021 of the City Council, Successor Agency to the Redevelopment Agencies, and all the other agencies listed on our agenda. If there are no comments or questions from council, I entertain a motion to approve. I have a motion by Councilwoman Nava, second by Councilman Corona. Please call a roll call vote.
Councilmember Rogers?
Yes.
Councilmember Nava?
Yes.
Councilmember Corona?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Rabb? Was that a yes?
That was a yes.
Mayor Vargas?
Yes.
5-0, motion approved.
Thank you. Mayor Pro Tem and Councilwoman Rogers, my screen is not showing all my participants, so if you do have a question until this gets fixed, please shout out that you have a comment. Okay, item 10 is our consent calendar. Consent calendar items are normally enacted in one motion. The mayor or city council may remove a consent calendar item for a separate action. We will have public comment, and it'll be limited to 3 minutes. And before we move on, I need to bring to attention item 10A. We all received an email, and I believe it's been updated in the internet as well. Section 5, parentheses 3, the line item that says 40 miles per hour on Nuevo Road between A Street. Well, that's corrected to read I-215 and Paris Boulevard. So item 3 of section 5, item 10A, it should read it 40 miles per hour on Nuevo Road between I-215 and Paris Boulevard. Aside from that, does any member of the council wish to pull anything from the consent calendar? Hearing or seeing nobody, I'll entertain a motion to approve. I have a motion by Councilwoman Nava, second by Councilman Corona. Please call a roll call vote.
Councilmember Rogers?
Yes.
Councilmember Nava?
Yes.
Councilmember Corona?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Rabb? Mayor Vargas?
Yes,
5-0, motion approved.
thank you. Okay, item 11 is our public hearings. 11A is consideration to adopt proposed resolution number next in order regarding annexation of PM 37760 to the Flood Control Maintenance District Number 1, FCMD Number 1. PM 37760, a subdivision of Paris Spectrum located at the west frontage of Paris Boulevard, north of Orange Avenue. This is going to be introduced by our city engineer, Stuart McKibben.
Thank you, Honorable Mayor, members of the council. This presentation will be made by Dulce Diaz from Wildan Financial.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. PM 37760 is a construction of a 5,200 square foot multi-tenant building and a 2,200 square foot fast food restaurant within the Paris Spectrum Shopping Center. As a condition of approval, the project is required to annex into the city's flood control maintenance district to pay for the benefits and annual costs associated with this property once it is developed. The proposed maximum annual assessment of the project is $429.56.
Dulce, we're having troubles with your audio. Or do you have another device on by any chance in the same room?
Let me try something else.
Okay, is this better?
Yes, much better.
Okay,
I'm going to need
perfect.
you to start over.
Yes, I will. One moment. Okay, so good evening, Mayor and council members. Once again, PM 37760 is a construction of a 5,200 square foot multi-tenant building and a 2,200 square foot fast food restaurant within the Paris Spectrum Shopping Center. As a condition of approval, the project is required to annex into the city's flood control maintenance district to pay for the benefits and annual costs associated with this property once it is developed. The proposed maximum annual assessment for the project is $429.56. On November 9, 2021, the City Council approved the resolution initiating the annexation of this project and set tonight as the public hearing for the annexation. At this time, staff is asking the mayor to open and close the public hearing. Following the hearing, the city clerk is to open one ballot. If there is no majority protest, then the city council can consider the approval of the resolutions confirming the annexation. Unless there are any questions, that concludes my presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Dulce. Council, anybody have anything they need to ask for clarification? Okay, we're going to open up the public hearing. Madam Clerk, do we have any requests to speak on this item?
No, sir.
IT?
No, sir.
Anybody in the audience wishing to speak on this item? Okay, hearing or seeing none, we're going to close the public hearing, and I'll ask the city clerk to open the ballot.
City of Paris annexation of PM 37760 to benefit Zone 121, Flood Control Maintenance District Number 1. The ballot is marked yes.
Thank you. Okay, at this time, I'll call for a motion on the resolution. I have a motion by Councilman Corona, second by Councilwoman Nava. Please call a roll call vote.
Councilmember Rogers?
Yes.
Councilmember Nava?
Yes.
Councilmember Corona?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Rabb?
Yes.
Mayor Vargas?
Yes,
5-0 motion approved.
thank you. Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. We got you that time. Okay, 11B is consideration to adopt proposed resolution number next in order regarding annexation of DPR 07-0119 to the CFD 2001-3, which is the North Paris Public Safety District. This will be introduced by our Deputy City Manager, Ernie Reyna.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor and members of the City Council. For this presentation, I will also have Dulce Diaz of Wildan make this presentation, so I'll turn it over to you, Dulce.
Thank you.
Ernie. Good evening, once again, honorable Mayor and council members. These two resolutions on the agenda are for the annexation of the property for the project DPR 070119, which is owned by Duke Realty Webster Ryder LP. And the annexation is into the CFD 2001-3. The public, I do apologize. At the meeting on November 30th, 2021, the City Council adopted a resolution of intention declaring the intention to annex certain territory to the district and setting the date of the public hearing for tonight. Therefore, we request that the city open a public hearing on this annexation. If there are no protests, adopt a resolution calling for a special election. The property owner has waived the waiting period, so we can conduct this special election tonight. Finally, once the election is conducted, adopt a resolution declaring the results of the election, ordering the annexation, and direct the recording of the notice of special tax lien. Unless there are any questions, that concludes my presentation.
Thank you, Dulce. Council, anybody have any comments or questions for clarification? Hearing and seeing none, we'll open up the public hearing. Madam Clerk, do we have any requests to speak?
No, sir.
IT?
No, sir.
Anybody in the audience wishing to speak at this time? Hearing or seeing none, we'll close the public hearing, and I'll call for a motion on the first reading. We have a motion by Councilwoman Nava, second by Councilman Corona. Please call a roll call vote.
Councilmember Rogers?
Yes.
Councilmember Nava?
Yes.
Councilmember Corona?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Rabb?
Yes.
Mayor Vargas?
Yes.
5-0, motion approved.
Thank you. Okay, at this time, I'll ask for a motion on the second resolution. First, open the ballot, then we'll call for it.
Community Facilities District Number 2001-3, North Paris, Public Safety of the City of Paris, Annexation Number 45, Special Tax and Appropriations Limit Elections. The ballot is marked yes.
Thank you. Okay, Council, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
Motion to approve.
Moved by Mayor Pro Tem, second by Councilman Corona. Call for a vote, please.
Councilmember Rogers?
Yes.
Councilmember Nava?
Yes.
Councilmember Corona?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Rabb?
Yes.
Mayor Vargas?
Yes.
5-0, motion approved.
Thank you. 11C is consideration to adopt proposed resolution numbers next in order regarding annexation of DPR 07-0119 to the CFD 2018-2 Public Services District. And this will be introduced by our Deputy City Manager, Ernie Reyna.
Yes, thank you again, Mr. Mayor and members of the City Council. So for this item, we'll also have Dulce Diaz be presenting on this item. So Dulce, go ahead.
Thank you, Ernie. Honorable Mayor and council members, these two resolutions are for the same project that we previously discussed. On November 30th, 2021, the City Council adopted Resolution 5885, declaring the intention to annex certain territory to the district and setting tonight as a public hearing. We request that the city follow the same procedure that we just went through for the previous item. Unless there are any questions, that concludes my presentation.
Thank you, Dulce.
you.
Council, anybody have any questions? Hearing and seeing none, I'll open up the public hearing. Madam Clerk, do you have any requests to speak?
No, sir.
IT?
No, sir.
Anybody in the audience wishing to speak at this time on this item? Hearing or seeing none, we will close public hearing, and I'll call for the motion on the first resolution. I have a motion by Councilwoman Nava, second by Councilman Corona. Please call a vote.
Councilmember Rogers?
Yes.
Councilmember Nava?
Yes.
Councilmember Corona?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Rab? Mayor Vargas?
Yes.
5-0, motion approved.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, will you open up the ballot, please?
Community Facilities District Number 2018-02, Public Services District of the City of Paris, Annexation Number 7, Special Tax and Appropriations Limit Election. The ballot is marked yes.
Thank you. Okay, I'll call for a motion on the second resolution. A motion by Councilwoman Nava, second by Councilman Corona. Please call a vote.
Councilmember Rogers?
Yes.
Councilmember Nava?
Yes.
Councilmember Corona?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Rab?
Yes.
Mayor Vargas?
Yes.
5-0, motion approved.
Thank you. Item D is consideration to adopt proposed resolution of necessity, next in order, to acquire a drainage easement located at 467 East 4th Street between South Redlands Avenue and South G Street. This would be the APN portion of 310-160-044. This will be introduced by our our city attorney, Mr. Eric Dunn.
And thank you, Mayor, members of the council. I'm going to turn this over to Dennis Law from my office to give the hearing. This is actually, as you mentioned, a acquisition of a small drainage easement adjacent to the Public Works yard.
Could we repeat the address one more time, please?
It is the city yard. The address is 467 East 7th Street between Redlands and South G.
Thank you.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor, City Council members. Thank you for your time. This agenda item is with respect to a proposed drainage easement for the city yard of Paris. Currently, the city yard property slopes to the east from street level such that when it rains, puddling and rain accumulation occurs throughout the property. The city's plan is to do certain grading work such that the water will collect in one place on the city's property, then drain onto a portion of the adjoining property, which is a 300 square foot area that is owned by an entity, Victor Treatment Centers, Inc. Before the project can begin, though, the city must obtain possession of the 300 square foot area consisting of vacant land only, for which the resolution of necessity is here today before the council. It's important to note that adopting the resolution does not mean that settlement is not possible with the property owner, as will be explained. There was some conversation with Victor Treatment Centers early on in the process, but the property owner has not been responsive since such time through today. In December of 2020, the city sent to the property owner a notice of decision to appraise the property in connection with the CER project. It was learned at this time that Victor Treatment Centers, Inc. was in the process of selling the property. The city's attorney's office, in fact, had some discussions with the property owner and the buyer about the easement and potential development in early 2021. And on May 4th, 2021, the city made a formal offer to acquire the easement based on its appraised value. The thought was the easement would be taken care of in the context of a development plan that was going to be submitted by the potential purchaser. However, months later, there was no change of ownership. There does not appear to be a purchase and sale agreement anymore with the buyer, and the property owner has been unresponsive. And so staff has recommended proceeding with the resolution to authorize the city's attorney's office to bring eminent domain proceedings, which again does not preclude a possible settlement with the property owner later on. So referring to the PowerPoint presentation before us today, for the easement, the council is required to make 4 findings before eminent domain may be exercised to acquire the easement. The first finding that must be made, the public interest, convenience, and necessity require the project to assist the city to abate drainage and rain issues at city yard. This is a reasonable standard. I understand that Public Works uses city yard to facilitate some of their businesses. They store equipment there, they store machinery there, and certainly getting the drainage and the rain situation solved will facilitate the business of Public Works. The second finding the council must make, the project is planned in a manner which will be the most compatible with the greatest public good and the least private injury. Here, we're talking about a 300 square foot area of land for the easement, and it's vacant land, so there's not going to be any intrusion on any development or existing structures at the site. Third, finding the city council must make whether the easement sought to be acquired is necessary for the project, because without the easement, the project cannot be completed. Here, the answer is yes, the property slope is such that the puddling issues occur whenever it rains at the city yard. So a change of grading is proposed to drain off to the vacant property, to the 300 square foot area. And without this easement, the project will not be able to be completed. And the final finding that this council must make is that the offer required by Government Code Section 7267.2 has been made to the owners of record of the property by way of letter dated May 4, 2021, and the owners of record of the property have not accepted the city's offer. Again, we had some initial discussions with Victory Treatment Centers when the appraisal was happening, but since such time, there's just been radio silence. We have not been able to get in touch with the owner. And with that, the presentation is concluded unless there's any questions or comments that I can entertain.
Thank you, Dennis. Council, anybody have any questions or comments for clarification?
I would add or emphasize what Mr. Law said, that this was going to be worked out when the property was sold to a different buyer. And then through the planning process, I think Mr. Fung was involved a year ago, and this was going to work its way out, but that buyer has disappeared. And the city still needs this small piece. The offer is only $2,500, but we have to go through this process in order to get it. We are not getting any response from the property owner at this time.
Very good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, at this time, I'm going to open up the public hearing. Madam Clerk, do you have any requests to speak?
No, sir.
IT?
No, sir.
Thank you. Anybody in the audience at this time wishing to speak on this item? Hearing or seeing none, I will close the public hearing, and I'll call for a motion on the resolution. I have a motion by Councilwoman Nava, second by Councilman Corona. Please call a roll call vote.
Councilmember Rogers?
Yes.
Councilmember Nava?
Yes.
Councilmember Corona?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Rabb?
Yes.
Mayor Vargas?
Yes.
5-0, motion approved.
Thank you. 11E is our public hearing number 3 to receive input from the community regarding the content of draft district maps, the proposed sequence of elections and of council members, and a district-based election system for the city of Paris, for city council, and to consider draft district maps. This will be introduced by our city attorney, Mr. Dunn.
Thank you, Mayor, members of the council. We've had 2 hearings leading up to this moment where maps were drafted by the city's consultant, who is here tonight. And at this point, I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Westall to give the presentation on the draft maps, the process going forward, and the citizen involvement and council involvement.
Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. Andrew Westall with Bear Demographics and Research. It's a pleasure to actually see you in person. I'm happy to be here in the city of Paris this evening. And what we'll do tonight is we'll go through 3 different draft maps that we drafted for the council district boundaries. And then we'll be happy to take any questions or comments that the council and the mayor may have. So the first draft map, this is what it looks like in general. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through the boundaries of each one of the proposed districts and give you the street boundaries so that you know what you're actually looking at. So we'll start with proposed District 1, and once again, this is draft map number 1. And as I describe each of the council boundaries, I'm going to start in roughly the northwest corner and then kind of circle around in a clockwise fashion. So starting with, once again, proposed council District 1, which starts at the city boundary and the 215 freeway up in the north, comes down along the city boundaries until you get to the Paris Valley Storm Drain, comes down the Paris Valley Storm Drain, all the way south to Orange Avenue, yes, and then goes west along Orange Avenue to Redlands Avenue, Redlands Avenue south, all the way down to the 215 freeway, and then the 215 freeway would be, or the city boundary would be the western boundary of this proposed Council District Number 1. The deviation for Council District 1 is 1.6%. Moving on to Council District 2. Council District 2, once again, starting in the northwest corner, is roughly city boundaries. As you get all the way along the north, the east, and the south, until once again you get to the Paris Valley Storm Drain, and then the western boundary is the Paris Valley Storm Drain. The deviation for this proposed Council District 2 under draft map number 1 is 0.6%. Moving on to proposed Council District 3 under draft map 1. The northwest corner there is the corner of Redlands Avenue and Orange Avenue. And so you go along Orange Avenue east, all the way to, once again, the city boundary along the east, coming down to near the southern boundary there, and that comes up Case Road, going up Case Road northwest to Paris Boulevard, and then Paris Boulevard north to 4th Street, moving along east on 4th Street to Redlands Avenue, and then Redlands Avenue all the way north back to that point of beginning. The proposed Council District 3 under draft map number 1 has a deviation of negative 1.9%. And moving on to the last district in draft map number 1, proposed Council District 4. So once again, in the northwest corner is the city boundaries. As you come east all the way to the 215 freeway, taking the 215 freeway southeast to Redlands Avenue, and then Redlands Avenue south to 4th Street, 4th Street west to Paris Boulevard, and then Paris Boulevard south once again to Case Road, and then Case Road southeast all the way to the city boundaries, with the southern and all of the southern and western boundaries being the city boundaries in Council District 4. The deviation for the proposed Council District 4 under draft map number 1 is negative 0.3%. And so here's an aerial shot of the proposed map. And these are the statistics for the proposed maps. As you can see, these are the top-line statistics in the report that is available on the city's website, and I'm sure has been distributed to the mayor and council. There's a more robust breakdown of a variety of socioeconomic statistics, but these are the top lines. As I described before, those deviation numbers are listed there on this page. And the overall deviation for this plan is 3.5%. You may recall through this process that for a local jurisdiction like the City of Paris, that total overall deviation is presumptively valid if it's less than 10%. And so that far right number there that says 3.5, we want to make sure that stays under 10. And so that's draft map number 1. We'll go on to draft map number 2. Draft map number 2 has some similarities and some differences. And so we'll start with proposed Council District 1 under draft map number 2. This is similar, actually exactly the same as Council District 2 under draft map number 1. Once again, starting in that northwest corner, it's all city boundaries on the north, the east, and the south, and then the western boundary is the Paris Valley Storm Drain. Once again, this district has a deviation of 0.6%. Moving on to proposed Council District 2 under draft map number 2. Once again, starting in the northwest corner at the city boundaries, moving along those city boundaries along the north, all the way east, once again to the Paris Valley Storm Drain. Then coming down south along the Paris Valley Storm Drain to Orange Avenue, and then Orange Avenue east to the city boundary once again, and then coming down the city boundary to Nuevo Road. Moving along west along Nuevo Road to, I don't know how best to describe this. I'm sure you'd know better than I would, but there's a drainage channel that kind of circles between Nuevo Road and Redlands Avenue. And so going along that drainage ditch that's between the homes there is that kind of circular line between Districts 2 and 3 until you get back to Redlands Avenue. Once again, moving up Redlands Avenue north to Orange Avenue again, Orange Avenue west over to Paris Boulevard, Paris Boulevard south to Citrus Avenue, and then Citrus Avenue west to the 215 freeway. And once again, the western boundary of this proposed Council District 2 is roughly the 215 freeway or the city boundaries there. The overall deviation for proposed Council District 2 under draft map number 2 is negative 0.9%. Next up, we have proposed Council District 3 under draft map 2. And so, once again, in that northwest corner, it's starting at the 215 freeway and roughly Citrus Avenue, moving along Citrus Avenue east to Paris Boulevard, going Paris Boulevard north to Orange Avenue, moving east along Orange Avenue, once again to Redlands Avenue, moving south down Redlands Avenue back to that channel that I just described earlier, which will take you back down to Nuevo Road, and then Nuevo Road east to the city boundaries. Once again, coming down along the city boundaries until you get down to Case Road once again, and then moving northwest along Case Road to Paris Boulevard north to the 4th Street, and then 4th Street east once again to Redlands Avenue and the 215 freeway, and then moving up the 215 freeway as that western boundary, and then once again the city boundary that's just west of the freeway. The overall deviation in Council District 3 under draft map number 2 is 0.6%. And then lastly, for draft map number 4, or excuse me, draft map number 2, Council District 4, this is the, once again, the same as in draft map number 1. And so in general, once again, starting in that northwest corner, you have the city boundaries until you get to the 215 freeway, taking the 215 freeway south to Redlands Avenue, and Redlands Avenue to 4th Street, and going along 4th Street west to Paris Boulevard, once again traveling down Paris Boulevard south to Case Road, and then Case Road southeast to the city boundaries. And then once again, Council District 4, under this draft map, has the city boundaries to the south and to the west. And once again, under this draft map, this deviation for Council District 4 is minus 0.3%. So once again, we have a aerial view of the proposed map. And lastly, once again, we have the top-line statistics for draft map number 2, which has an overall deviation of 1.6%. And lastly, we'll go to draft map number 3. Draft map number three has some differences, but we did want to show the council and the mayor some options. And so this definitely looks different than the other two maps. But we did want to provide you once again with some options. And so we'll start again with the proposed District 1 under draft map 3. And so once again in that northwest corner where we've got the city boundaries, and those city boundaries come along all the way along the north and the top part of the east there until you come down to until you come down to the Ramona Expressway, right? And so from there, you would take the Ramona Expressway west to Evans Road, and then south along Evans Road to Ryder Street, going west along Ryder Street to Wilson Avenue, and then Wilson Avenue south to Placentia Avenue, Placentia Avenue east to Murrieta Road south, or Murrieta Road, right? And then south along Murrieta Road to Orange Avenue, and then Orange Avenue west to, Orange Avenue west to Medical Center Drive, and then south along Medical Center Drive to Citrus Avenue, and then traveling west along Citrus Avenue to Paris Boulevard, and then Paris Boulevard south to San Jacinto Avenue, San Jacinto Avenue west to A Street, A Street south to 3rd Street, and 3rd Street west to 4th Street. And I know that doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but at the western edge of 3rd Street where it turns down into 4th Street, that's where you see that boundary there in the south. Then it comes back down to 4th Street or the 74 highway, once again to the city boundary on the far north or far southwestern edge of the district and all along the western edges of the district. This deviation in this proposed Council District 1 under draft map number 3 has a deviation of negative 2.1%. Moving on to proposed Council District 2 under draft map number 3. Once again, in that northwest corner is Evans Road and the city boundary, or Evans Road and Ramona Expressway. And so you want to come west along the Ramona Expressway, which is also the city boundary there, coming all along the city boundaries on the east, all the way down to Nuevo Road in the far south. And then we pick it up once again along Nuevo Road going west to Evans Road, Evans Road north to Citrus Avenue, Citrus Avenue west to the Paris Valley Storm Drain, and then Paris Valley Storm Drain to Orange Avenue, and then Orange Avenue west to Murrieta Road, Murrieta Road north to Placentia Avenue, and then west once again along Placentia to Wilson Avenue, and then traveling along Wilson Avenue north to Ryder Street, and then east along Ryder Street back to Evans Road, which will take you north back up to the point of beginning. Council District 2, under the proposed draft map number 3, has a deviation of 1.5%. Moving on to proposed Council District 3 under draft map 3. In the northwest corner there is the corner of Medical Center Drive and Orange Avenue. And so you travel east along Orange Avenue to the Paris Valley Storm Drain, coming down south along the storm drain to Citrus Avenue, Citrus Avenue east to Evans Road, and then Evans Road south to Nuevo Road. And then moving along west along Nuevo Road until you get to Redlands Avenue, Redlands Avenue south, on both sides of Redlands Avenue there. So at 4th Street, Redlands Avenue doesn't connect, but the map comes down through both sections of Redlands Avenue to 7th Street, 7th Street west to Paris Boulevard, Paris Boulevard north, all the way up to Citrus Avenue, and Citrus Avenue east, once again to Medical Center Drive, and Medical Center Drive north back to the point of beginning. The proposed deviation under the proposed Council District 3 under draft map number 3 is 4.1%. And then last up here is Council District 4 under draft map number 3. That northwest corner that I'm going to start at is the intersection of Redlands Avenue and Nuevo Road, way up on the very northern section of District 4. So at Redlands Avenue and Nuevo Road, you travel east once again to the city boundaries. The city boundaries would be the district boundaries along the east, the south, and the west. And then as you come up the west, you'd pick up again at 4th Street or the 74 highway, traveling east once again to where 3rd Street dead ends there at 4th Street, and then traveling along 3rd Street east to A Street, A Street north to San Jacinto Avenue, San Jacinto Avenue east to Paris Boulevard, Paris Boulevard south to 7th Street, and then 7th Street east to Redlands Avenue, and then Redlands Avenue once again all the way north to the point of beginning. Council District 4 under draft map number 3 has a deviation of negative 3.4%. And so lastly, with draft map number 3, we have an aerial view of the map. And then lastly, we have the statistics for draft map number 3. The overall deviation for draft map number 3 is 7.5%. So with that, Mayor, my presentation is completed. I'm happy to take any questions or comments from yourself or from the council members. I don't know if you want to hold the public hearing and take public comment first.
Thank you very much for your presentation. Before I open up the public hearing, I'll seek for any questions for clarification by the council, not in-depth conversation, because we'll do that afterwards. So at this time, council, does anybody have anything for clarification purposes? And then my screen is working now, so I can see both Mayor Pro Tem and Councilman Rogers. Okay, so you want to wait till our discussion, or you have a question now for clarification?
I do have a question for clarification.
Okay, Councilman Corona?
Hi, you know, I take a look at the software, is fantastic. One issue though, is that when they break it down into blocks, you know, it might take the south side of the street, but not the north side of the street. And that kind of, you know, I mean, I feel like the street should kind of be together. Like, so for example, if it's you know, on 10th Street, for example, you know, I mean, so one part of it could be with one district and another could be another district. Is there any way that you could even draw a line in between the houses, the front and back houses?
In general, what we use is the census geography that's provided by the U.S. Census Bureau.
Okay.
And so, and frankly, they did not do a very good job with the geography or the census count this time around. And so, particularly in a growing city like the city of Paris, there are some very strange census blocks, which is why there are certain portions of the map where you may take one portion of the neighborhood or not, because it's based on that census geography, which has some very strange shapes. In general, we can look at a potential census block split in a particular location. It would depend if it's populated or not and whether it would affect the deviations. But if there's a specific area of the city in which the mayor and council want us to look at that issue and try to see if that's possible, we'd be happy to do so. In general, most jurisdictions just use the census geography, but we are comfortable doing census block splits if it makes sense. And we actually just did one in an area in the city of San Bernardino, which we finished up their map back in December, which actually had a census block split up by Cal State San Bernardino.
Oh, that makes sense. Okay, thank you.
Okay, I don't see anybody else. We're gonna go ahead and open up the public hearing, and then we'll continue on with discussion. Madam Clerk, do you have any requests to speak from the public?
No, sir.
IT?
No, sir.
Anybody at this time wishing to speak on this item? Hearing or seeing none, we will close public comment, or public hearing, excuse me. Okay, council, well, now's the time. If you want to start asking questions more in depth. Well, I guess you did an excellent presentation.
Thank you, Mayor.
I haven't spoken to nobody asking questions.
Question.
Yes,
Yeah.
Mayor
Can you
Pro
hear me?
Tem. Yes, we can. No, we can't.
Three. I have a comment regarding draft map 3, District 3. Regarding map, my main issue with that, if we're going into districts to create communities of interest, you effectively have Eastern 7th Street on two different wards or two different districts. For instance, the 200th block of East 7th Street, the people on one block are in District 3, and the people just directly south of that are in District 4. And my issue is that the people on one end of 7th Street, they get their mail on the other end. These people are neighbors, they live amongst each other. I think with draft map 3, the people, those 10 houses on 200th and 300th block of East 7th Street, starting from Paris Boulevard to G Street, along with the one house over on Ramona Drive and the 4 or 5 houses on G Street, should all be placed into District 3, because I do believe there's a deviation. District 3 already has a lot of people. I think you could take some of the people on the northern end of District 3, Center Drive, Flicker Way, and then place them over into District 4, and that would create some of the imbalance. And I think too, upper northern portion of District 4, and then going down to the southern end, I think in that district, we can afford to have a fewer amount of people, because we're going to be seeing a lot of growth over there. And we can go up to, is it 10% cumulative, or is it 10% per each individual district compared to each other?
So it is cumulative, council member. The way that it works is that you take the lowest negative deviation and the highest positive deviation, and you add those two together, you throw out the minus sign. And so it's just really about the highest populated and the lowest populated districts. In this map, currently, that is the case, right, where District 3 is really the most populated, and District 4 is the least populated in this map. Certainly, we could take a look at seeing about adding those areas to the 3rd district and come back with a draft map number 4, council member. In general, if you could just repeat some of the boundaries there. I think I got some of it, but we're talking about south of 7th Street.
Yes. Okay, so I'll go very, very slow. Okay, go to that map. You can zoom out a little bit. Okay, so 7th Street. You have that other half of 7th Street is in District 4, right?
Yes.
So I think that other half of 7th Street, you might as well go all the way to Case Road, because you have about 10, you have a condos, you have one house. If you go down to 7th, yeah, so right there.
Gotcha.
You have condos, there's 8 condos, there's one house, there's an empty lot, there's about 5 or 6 houses to the end of G Street. All those houses should be placed in District 3. And since you're at it, there's a big field behind those houses that goes over to the railroad tracks. To create uniformity, I think all that area, it's probably about 5 more houses. You got a house on Ramona Drive, you got about 4 or 5 houses on G Street. They should all be placed into District 3. And with the added population, that will create an imbalance with District 4, meaning District 4 will be missing. District, I believe it's the blue district on District Map 3. If you can go back to the other map. One, right? So you see District 3 already has an imbalance of people, because there's a lot more people in District 3. If you zoom into District 3, there's that little area, Center Drive, Flicker Way, Firebrand. You could place that in the District 1, and that would alleviate some of the negative in District 1 and bring District 3 down. So I think it's Firebrand, and then that, because you're dividing a community right there, because those homes on Firebrand and Medical Center Drive, they have like the same structure. They were built along the same time. And then you have a few newer homes in that area, like Georgina. They were built about 2006. So I think that area right by Firebrand up to, I think it's Redlands, could be the dividing line with, I think, Citrus to Redlands, right around there. I think that area would be better off with the Triple Crown area. And I think there's more of a community of interest in that area. And I think that would add more people into District 1, and that would get rid of some of the imbalance in that area.
Okay,
and then
Mayor Pro Tem, slow down a little bit here. Are you keeping up with them?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yeah.
I walked the city twice in both my re-elections, so I really know like these neighborhoods.
No, I get you know it, but he doesn't know our city. I just want to make sure he's capturing all this data that you're giving him.
Honestly, I think District 4, negative on District 4. I think those streets of Feliz, Bahia, Orca, Mildred, that's densely packed, but I think that community of interest goes well in District 3 as well. You could probably snip off a little bit of District 3 on the north end. So I think that was the original district, the 3 map that you sent out on December 29th, and then you guys revised it and had whole 7th Street like plopped off. I think that would be more fair. Honestly, I think this whole districting scheme is some BS, but I think this is the fairest to our residents if we're going to be moving that direction.
Mayor Pro Tem, if I can ask a question, as you look at Council District 3 and we come south on 7th Street, do you come all the way, would you recommend coming all the way down south to Case Road or
Yes,
a
yes.
different
If you
street?
go out there, okay, 7th Street. 7th Street is about 6 homes. That area from 7th Street, the alley, to Case Road, there's no homes in between there. There's about 3 homes on Paris Boulevard. You can lock those into District 3. Paris Boulevard makes a nice dividing line. So there you can go all the way down to the railroad tracks where the Metrolink comes. So yes, I would say go all the way down to Case Road. Sorry.
Thank you, sir.
So are you saying you like this map just as long as it gets those revisions in there?
Hey, I mean, honestly, I think we should continue to be elected at large, but given the sentiments of the council,
Okay, I
think
know how
that's-
you feel already, and I don't appreciate the
no, but
acronyms
I
of the
think-
BS. I'm just asking you a question. Hold on, Mayor Pro Tem, hold on. I did not appreciate the acronym of BS. The question to you, if you're happy with 3 and with this modifications, is that what you're asking? You're not coming in.
Along with the modification. I think the far northern end of District 3 and Draft Map 3, you can place some of that into District 1 to alleviate some of the population discrepancies in District 1. And you can place a little bit of that into District 2 because District 3 already has a 0.4% overage compared to the other districts. I think if we're going into districts, the reasoning behind it that I've heard from numerous people from the California Voting Rights Act is create communities of interest.
Right.
By dividing 7th Street, a community that, you know, I grew up on 7th Street, I don't live there anymore, but that was, came out to Paris in the 1950s.
You're coming in and out.
They had a community of interest there. So I think those are the changes I'd like to see made in this particular map.
Okay, and the final question to you that I'm asking is, of the 3 maps, you prefer 3 if we were able to get those changes put in there? Because you didn't say anything about the other maps.
Given the fact there are other issues, ancillary issues, I think these are good because you have the communities of interest. And, you know, I think the other ones give everyone a fair shot to elect their representatives of choice.
Okay, anybody else?
Yes, my hand is raised also.
Okay, Councilwoman Rogers.
All right, thank you. I'd just like to add of the 3 draft maps, I also favor draft map number 3. If the idea is to have representation in individual districts throughout the city, draft map number 1 has, the way the current council is, has no representation in either council districts 1 or 2, and draft map number 2 has no representation in council district number 1. So if that's our overall objective by going to districts, and I also favor the at-large elections, but I think the draft map number 3 gives representation throughout all of the city. And I understand Mayor Pro Tem's concern about keeping the communities together that represent each other. So perhaps if we can do a revision, because draft map 3 has the representation, but it's kind of chopped up in different places. If we can maybe make those major adjustments there, that would probably be a better solution for the city.
So aside from what Mayor Pro Tem brought up, the choppiness, are you concerned with any other portions of the map that's choppy? I think what's happening here, and excuse me real quick, Councilwoman, legally, by law, my understanding, and correct me if I'm wrong, when you do these maps, you can work to keep it where if it's allowable, where the current council persons live, you can keep them in their same districts. Is that correct?
My understanding of the law, and Mr. Dunn, you can chime in if you'd like to. In general, we don't try to draw plans to protect incumbents, but if there's, unless there's a real good legal reason to displace an incumbent, we try not to.
Right, I'm not even going near the word gerrymandering, but my understanding, Mr. Dunn, and you can cue in, is you can develop a map that does fit around the current council persons as long as you're not gerrymandering.
That is correct. You, as Mr. Westall said, these three maps meet all the requirements of the federal and state Voting Rights Act without gerrymandering, but they're just giving you different options of whether to, carve it up exactly geographically or to create districts where current incumbents just happen to live, so that everybody in those areas gets a representation, as Councilwoman Rogers pointed out.
Right. And so
but these three maps all meet the legal requirements.
But the first two maps, as she indicated, we are lacking representation, and draft 3 separated to where it did cover the current makeup of our council. Each district would be represented.
Correct, that's my
And
understanding.
that's the one that's kind of carved up, that we need to kind of clean it up and shape it up better. And I believe that's what Councilwoman Rogers was getting at, as well as Mayor Pro Tem. So, I'm sorry,
Yes,
Councilwoman Rogers, please go on.
I think it's very important, going to the districts, that we do have representation throughout the city.
Sure.
I know the mayor will serve at large and be available for the whole city. But with that draft map number 1, you have 2 council members in District 4 and 2 council members in District 3, leaving no one in Districts 1 and 2. So that's a concern, because that leaves that whole section, unrepresented. And
Right.
then the same thing with draft map number 2. There's no one in the representation in Council District 1, and you've got a cluster of council members in one district. So I just think if we're doing this, that we want to do it where there's representation, and maybe we can make some adjustments along those different areas for subtracting some from number 4 to go into number 3 in draft map 3. But I think the logical choice to have proper representation throughout the city where each resident is represented would be draft map number 3.
Gotcha. Thank you. Anybody else? Councilwoman Nava?
Thank you so much for the presentation. I agree with the sentiments of my colleagues that they've mentioned to rework draft map number 3. And so I won't go into the details of that, since that's been addressed already. But some things that I wanted to point out, and something that you also mentioned as well, was the census, this last census that we had. Do you have any type of, I guess, what's the word I'm looking for? There's speculation that the census wasn't all that accurate because of the pandemic. Would you agree with that statement?
Yes, particularly in Latino and African American communities.
Okay. And we know that that's a great population of ours here in the city of Paris, correct? So, in working with local governments in the past, I know that these type of districts are normally drawn out by residents themselves, or they're introduced by residents themselves. It's a resident-led initiative. So I've also been aware that we haven't really received much input from our community regarding districts. And if I could have staff clarify that up to this moment, we haven't had any comments, questions.
Sure. Councilwoman Nava, that is correct. We've done a series of outreach throughout the summer. Also asked for input as to these 3 maps. We've not received a lot of input.
Thank you for clarifying, City Manager. So that to me is extremely important, because the reason why we're drawing out these maps is for better representation, transparency, and to have a council member in your neighborhood, right? So to me, that's concerning, especially since these maps were presented and uploaded on our website on December 29th, which, coupled with the pandemic, the holidays, and people being not receiving comments in the first place, I think that just adds to that. So I want to be really mindful moving forward, especially once this item has been in discussion. At one point, we've tabled it, and we've been really mindful that we want to make sure that we're receiving community engagement and that, it's accessible and available. And based on the recent spikes that we had, that's just a concern that I want to make. So because this is new, it's historic for the city of Paris, the drawing out of districts, I want to go ahead and just reiterate that we have to be really careful, especially since we didn't put this on the ballot for voter approval. So those are my comments, just the fact that we haven't had much interaction from our residents.
If I may, Councilmember, one of the things that we did provide to the city was an online mapping tool for residents to use to be able to draw maps, and that's on the city's website, and certainly any member of the public can utilize that site. I'd be happy even to do an online demonstration for the public if that's something that the city wanted to organize so that people could understand how to use that tool. The other thing that I would say is that in terms of this process, if the city were to go to council district elections this year, it'd have to be completed by April 17th. And so that's the deadline for this current election cycle. But my understanding is that the city's not under any litigation or threat of litigation. And so certainly if the city felt like it needed to take more time, it could.
Thank you. Yes, we're in no rush by any means, and we want to make sure we get it done right, especially since it's our first go at this. And I understand that normally every census that comes out every 10 years, it's a great time to revisit the districting and rework it. But yes, I think that would be really important and critical to offer the maps. And ideally, in a perfect world, I'd like for our maps to be presented and displayed at community events and just, be really accessible to the community and get their buy-in. And I'm just not hearing that. So those are just the comments I want to make sure are being made. Thank you.
Duly noted. I've gone through this process and did not receive any community engagement. It's not uncommon, and our city attorney himself has already expressed that with all the other cities that he's involved with is the same. And just keep in mind, you are voted in by the people to represent them, so it doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to be out because they're expecting you to make decisions for them. So I think we're doing okay so far, except I too would like more representation, but the fact is, this is the way it's been. I've been to numerous hearings, and there's just no participation. So, Councilman Corona, do you have any comments?
I did spend some time on the thing on the digital tool. It's fantastic. Now, at first, I was a little confused, and I know some people that tried it, and they were like, "Wait, I don't know how to do this," and but if you break it up by the large one, it's terrible. But if you zero in on it, it's actually kind of nice, and you can kind of do some stuff. But looking at these maps, I think based on the comments from my colleagues, I think map number 3 is the best because it is. But when looking at it, it's terrible. I mean, like district number 2, it's so silly looking. I'm not trying to disparage the work that you did, but it just our city is a weird shape to begin with.
Right.
And then when we're trying to break it up in groups and stuff like that, now had that area between the May Ranch area and where the homes off of Dunlap and Wayward Road are, if that was all connected in there, it would be a fine map. But the fact that we're connected by only a small little sliver, I think Councilman Rabb had some good points and trying to keep like turns, but it's very difficult when our city is spread out in weird areas. Like in the north of Paris, I'm talking about the industrial north. It seems like there's nobody there, but there's about 500 people that live there. So I was messing around trying to keep the north with the north, and I mean, like there's some areas that are very dense, and there's some areas that are very kind of more spread out. But yeah, there's not going to be a perfect situation. We saw that with the county. They drew those maps, and it wasn't a perfect situation. But I want to thank you for trying it out. I'm still kind of it's our first time doing it. So I want to make sure it's done right, and I don't know if there is a way to do it fully right. I do know that from what I talked to them in the last election and stuff like that, people did want, kind of more personalized representation of who to call to. I'm getting calls of something that, we're all at large right now. I care about all the city, but I don't go to the north very often, right? Just like I know the mayor, he travels a lot, but he might not come to my neighborhood in the south. Or, in Shannon Hills or stuff like that. I mean, there's some areas where I could go weeks without seeing, where other areas I'm very familiar with it. So, I mean, I I mean, I've made all my comments before in the last 5 years about going to districts. I think I think it's beneficial, but I just want to make sure it's done right. You know, if we need to, you know, kind of take a look at it and delay it for a further election, but just make sure it's done right. And I'd hate for anybody to change on the council. But I mean, you know, if there was a change, for example, then it might make sense to draw the maps a little different. So that's kind of my comments. I'm just trying to take it all in right now, and you know, but I think map number 3 is the best, even though it's still, you know, still probably needs some tweaking in there.
I think, you know, those are great comments, council member. And what I would say is I think it's much like the discussion that the council just had, it's important to understand the geography of the city. And so you have a lot of pockets in the city, vast areas where you have no population, whether it's parts of the industrial areas in the north, you know, some of the flatlands down in the south, south of the 215 freeway. And so as you're looking to put together various population centers, you know, these draft maps kind of show you different things. What I would say with respect to Council District 2 under this map is I do believe it is a good community of interest. You're basically dealing with almost all of the population in the city that lives east of Evans Road, and it's a little difficult. The shape's, you know, certainly a little strange because of the mountain, you know, kind of the hill area there in the middle of District 2, which is in the county unincorporated area. But that really encompasses all of that population that surrounds that hill. As you saw in draft map number 1 and 2, there's a tremendous amount of population in the northeast portion of the city. And so, you know, so the question becomes is, do you want to use a boundary like this where you can keep kind of that community of interest and that population intact, which also allows the population that's west of Evans Road that's most affected by the industrial areas to be represented by the same council member, or should all of that population be in one district? And so these are the types of things that we think about going into it. And certainly, as Mr. Dunn pointed out, we do strive and have developed 3 different maps that meet all of the legal criteria. And so I feel very comfortable with this, even though the shapes are a little strange. And that's just, I think, a nature of the city, as you pointed out. The last thing I'll say is certainly we can continue to refine this and make adjustments and try to get this to a point where the council is satisfied.
So, the city of Paris, you know, at one time was Paris Valley. That's why we have a lot of terms, the word Paris Valley. This was a huge valley, and the city of Paris started growing by annexation after annexation. And we definitely have the weirdest cutout piece of a city, and we have pockets of counties and stuff. So those are going to be other projects that we, as a council and future council members down the road, that needs to get this fixed up. But for now, this is what we have to work with. And yeah, we're never going to make everything perfect, you know, we're going to upset 6, we're going to make 6 happy. I mean, you did the best you can. The consensus here is map 3. You've got some homework to do. They've given you their concerns about certain areas to fix up. If we can come back and revisit that again, would be great. In terms of both your comments, whether it's this year as we planned originally, the both of you and myself, 2023, 2024, 2026, nothing's going to change. These numbers will not change until 2030. So this is what we have to work with, this census. So let's work on map 3 and see if we can get this figured out.
Be happy to, Mayor. The last thing I wanted to say, Mayor, is to your comment earlier in terms of public participation. It's hit and miss depending on the jurisdiction. And we did a workshop in Menifee last month. We had 2 people show up.
Right.
Did 16 workshops in the city of San Bernardino, had a total of 100 people over 16
That's
workshops.
awesome.
Right, which was great, but we had a couple workshops where no one showed.
Yeah.
So it's really, and it's, of course, it's much more difficult in this environment as well, sir.
Yeah. Well, you know, we made everything available. I mean, we're doing everything we can. We're blasting it everywhere. It's just one of those things that, you know, and I have to go back to the comment that I made, is that, you know, we're elected by the people, for the people, so we are here to make the decisions. And if they have a voice, they want to come out, they're more than welcome, and we've offered that. So we've made the tools available. I mean, we're doing everything we can feasibly do to get their involvement. So appreciate the work you've done so far, and then hopefully the next round we'll see a much better looking map 3.
Yes, draft map number 4, we'll put that together for you and get it over to city staff so that they can post it in the next week or so, sir.
Excellent, thank you.
And on that note, Mr. Mayor, the new maps have to be published on the website at least 7 days before the next
meeting.
hearing. All residents are allowed to play around with the tool that's on the website. That includes council members. If Mayor Pro Tem Rab has some specific things, he's welcome to obviously to really point them out on a map himself, or just talk to Mr. Westall himself and get those specifics done.
Excellent, thank you.
Mayor Vargas, I believe Mayor Pro Tem Rab had raised his hand.
Mayor Pro Tem? We can't hear you, David.
Question I had is if we had maps, could we submit them to the presenter? And Mr. Dunn answered that question, so thank you.
Okay, great. Okay, yes. We opened that already, we already went through it. Yeah. Okay, thank you very much, and we'll see you next time around.
Thank you, sir, and
Okay.
have a great evening.
Likewise, stay safe. Item 12 is our business items. 12A is consideration to make appointments to the city committee and commissions and agencies. This will be introduced by myself. So, as usual, I do reach out to all the council members to confirm that they want to resume their current committees and commissions that they sit on, and they all did express their wishing to stay on. So we're going to go line by line anyway for transparent purposes. The first commission is the Community Action Commission. This has been dissolved. It's been taken over by the county, so we're going to remove this from our list. The next one is Riverside Transit Agency. Councilman Malcolm Corona will still be the delegate, and Councilwoman Rogers would be the alternate. Western Riverside Council of Governments, Councilwoman Rogers will be the representative. Council Nava will be the alternate. Western Riverside County Regional Conservation Authority, Mayor Pro Tem will be the delegate. Councilman Malcolm Corona will be the alternate. So we will be changing titles for the Mayor Pro Tem, so I'm technically publicly saying Mayor Pro Tem David, but ultimately he will no longer be the Mayor Pro Tem, so Mr. Dunn, he's not been removed yet. Do I still list him as Mayor Pro Tem, or should I refer to him as Councilman?
Mr. Mayor, I think when you're done making appointments and it's all said and done, the staff will
Make it
correct
correct.
the titles.
Okay, thank you. March Joint Powers Authority. The mayor is the representative, and Councilwoman Rogers is representative, and Councilman Corona is the alternate. Southern California Association of Governments, Councilwoman Nava is the delegate. Western Community Energy Joint Powers Authority, Councilwoman Rogers is the delegate, and Councilwoman Nava is the alternate. East-West Corridor Committee, Mayor Pro Tem Rab is the representative, Councilwoman Rogers is the alternate. Riverside County Habitat Conservation Agency, the mayor is the representative, Councilwoman Nava is the alternate. Riverside County Library Systems Zone Advisory Board, Councilwoman Nava. Do you guys, does this agency meet a lot? Have you met? Deputy City Clerk, Assistant City Clerk, City Clerk. I think I talked about this last year with us. Did we not need a delegate? Do you remember? I just don't like having something that does not list, not a delegate, alternate. I do not like listing something that does not have an alternate because I've experienced some issues with that in other commissions. This is the one for the Riverside County Library Systems Zone Advisory Board. I don't even know when the last time they met. I'm sorry? Okay. Riverside County Transportation, Riverside County, I didn't say that. Riverside County Transportation Commission, I'm the representative. Councilwoman Rogers is the alternate. Riverside County Office of Aging Advisory Board, Mayor Pro Tem Rab. Guess that's one of those other ones we don't have an alternate. The Tump Zone Committee, Councilwoman Rogers is the representative. Mayor Pro Tem Rab is the alternate. City Working Committees, Ways and Means Committee is Councilwoman Nava and Councilwoman Rogers. The Public Works Ad Hoc, Mayor Pro Tem Rab and Councilman Corona. Parks and Recreation Committee is Councilwoman Rogers and Councilman Corona. School District Liaison Ad Hoc, Councilwoman Nava and Councilman Corona. Senior Citizen Ad Hoc, the Mayor Vargas and Councilwoman Rogers. Public Safety Ad Hoc, the Mayor and Mayor Pro Tem. Economic Development should be committee, not an ad hoc. This is an ongoing committee now. Is myself, the Mayor, and Mayor Pro Tem Rab. Campaign Transparency Ad Hoc is Mayor Pro Tem Rab and Councilman Corona. The Veterans Memorial Ad Hoc is the Mayor and Mayor Pro Tem Rab. The Homeless Task Force Committee is Councilwoman Nava and Councilman Corona. The Community Development Block Grant Committee is Mayor Vargas and Councilwoman Rogers. Human Resource Committee is Mayor Vargas and Councilwoman Nava. And our latest addition is I'm calling it the Water Utility Ad Hoc. Is that a good name? Thank you. Mayor Vargas, and I'm looking for someone to join me on this one. Anybody wants to volunteer? Oh, Mayor, there it is, Councilwoman Rogers, thank you. You will be with me. And I do want to establish an alternate. Who would like to join as an alternate?
I'm not proposing me, but being that Councilman Rab is the only person that actually lives in the Paris Water District, I would nominate him
For the alternate?
for the alternate. Or yeah.
Mayor Pro Tem, you good with that?
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay. Mayor Pro Tem is the alternate. And looks like that's it.
For the record, Mayor, may I also add my most recent appointment
What's that?
to the Tax and Revenue Committee?
Those aren't committees that we list on here because I'm on the public safety one. Yeah, I went through that the last time, but thank you. Yeah. Okay, folks, those are my appointments. I make that motion to put everybody back in, if I may get a second. Mayor Pro Tem?
Can I make a quick comment? I agree with all the appointments. My only issue is the Veterans Ad Hoc. Since we've created the memorial, I don't know if the council would be inclined to maybe put that either under Public Works or Economic Development. I don't foresee a lot of issues, there'll be issues with cleaning it up and maintaining it over the next few years, but
Well,
since
we're not done with it yet. We still have issues with the pavers and donations and all that stuff, so we're not, I thought about that too, but we're not done with it, so there still could be some issues. But thanks for pointing that out. All right, so I'm motioning, I need a second, guys.
I second.
Second by Councilwoman Nava. Let me make sure no one else has any more questions. Okay, roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Rogers?
Yes.
Councilmember Nava?
Yes.
Councilmember Corona?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Rab?
yes.
Mayor Vargas?
Yes,
5-0, motion approved.
thank you. Okay, 12B is consideration to appoint the Mayor Pro Tem. So we have a rotational cycle that we have been doing. The council is doing before I even got here as well. So the next person is Councilman Corona, am I correct, City Clerk? Yes. Are you
Yes.
accepting that?
Yes, I will.
Okay,
Yes, I
so
will.
I'm going to nominate or appoint Councilman Corona as our new Mayor Pro Tem. I will make that motion if I can get a second, please.
I'll second.
I have a second by Councilwoman Rogers. I'm done with this mess tonight. Please call roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Rogers,
Yes.
Councilmember Nava,
Yes.
Councilmember Corona,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Rab,
You're muted, David. Give us a thumbs up.
Yes.
All right, thank you.
Mayor Vargas.
Yes,
5-0, motion approved.
thank you. Okay, so City Clerk's office, please make the adjustments that the new Mayor Pro Tem is now, Malcolm Corona, provided he brings us all in a six-pack before the end of the, got it. Okay, item 13 is council communications. And our next order would be, well, Corona is now Mayor Pro Tem, so bring up Nava will be first. Councilwoman Nava.
Thank you, Mayor. So first of all, happy 2022 to everyone. I'd like to kick off my report today by sharing an update that took place at one of the regional planning organizations that I serve on, which is the Southern California Association of Governments. There we voted to support a ballot initiative that aims to override state housing laws by giving local governments the final say over land use decisions. It still needs to collect nearly 1 million valid signatures in order to qualify for the November ballot. But this is something that I firmly believe in is important for local governments who are more familiar with their community versus the representatives who serve them in Sacramento. And then an example of that is RENA and how that simply gets allocated to communities. And then another point that I like to share from the same SCAG organization is an update that they're hosting a workshop next week to learn about the SoCal goods movement. And this study aims to assess opportunities and challenges of goods movement and disadvantaged, oops, sorry, these masks today are just, I forgot to speak in 2022. So basically, this is a study that will help and serve 6 to 8 communities of interest that are disproportionately affected by goods movement activities and or facilities. And they will provide a toolkit that will help develop different strategies to address public health and air quality impacts and help position communities to access high quality jobs and other economic benefits. So this is something I look forward to participating in, and I will provide more updates as they come. So another resource that I would like to share is that since we are updating the ordinance for accessory dwelling units, which are known as ADUs as well, I wanted to share out that there is help. For example, the California Housing Finance Agency is offering a grant to provide up to $25,000 to offset costs incurred. To learn more about it, please visit their website at calhfa.ca.gov. There are also several housing finance solutions available on their website, such as homebuyer hardship assistance and others, and I am hopeful that we could connect with them in order for them to provide workshops here for the City of Paris, even if they're virtual for the time being. And congratulations to our new Mayor Pro Tem Corona. I have good faith in you that you will represent us well. And then a great thank you to our outgoing Mayor Pro Tem David Rab, who also did an excellent job as Mayor Pro Tem. So my last update for tonight is that I kicked off this Friday hosting virtual office hours here at City Hall. I was looking forward to hosting them in person now that I have dedicated office space, but due to the current spike of positive COVID cases, I am offering those virtually. So I look forward to hosting them every Friday from 1 to 3. So if you'd like to go ahead and drop in virtually, please feel free to email me for that Zoom link at mnava@cityofparis.org, and I look forward to connecting you. And if Fridays don't work for you, then you are always welcome to come out and reach out to me. So with that, that concludes my message for tonight, and thank you all so much.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Councilwoman Rogers?
Yes, I'd also like to wish everyone a wonderful 2022. We're starting off the beginning of the year in another pandemic. It seems like a new variant and a lot of cases. I've got 4 grandchildren that are home right now with the COVID. So it's spreading like wildfire right now. But I do want to advise everyone, if you haven't gotten your vaccine, right here on 4th Street at the Paris Community Urgent Center, the number is 951-355-0030. They have all 3 vaccines the Moderna, the Pfizer, and the Johnson & Johnson. They administer different vaccines on different days. So please call 355-0030. They're right here in downtown Paris on 4th Street. Ask for Alex, he'll make you an appointment, and make sure you get vaccinated. Right now, you want to wear your mask and be more careful again. We thought we had gotten through the first bout, but it seems like it's back again stronger than ever. So please make sure that your children and your grandchildren are vaccinated as well. And now you can get your booster shot after 5 months. So please make sure that you do receive that as well. And they do the booster shots there as well too. So I wanted to share that with you. And then if Mr. Dunn would send the council a update on the changes for the council for the 2022 new laws that went in effect, that would be great as well. And I also congratulate outgoing Mayor Pro Tem David Rabb and welcome incoming Mayor Pro Tem Malcolm Corona as our new Mayor Pro Tem. And I know they'll both serve they both are capable of serving the city very well and representing Paris. And
Thank
that's
you.
all
Thank you, Councilwoman. Councilman Reb?
Yes, thank you. I'm going to zoom in because of the audio difficulties. I just want to congratulate Mayor Pro Tem Malcolm Corona on his appointment to Mayor Pro Tem. I'd like to thank my colleagues for entrusting me over the last year to be Mayor Pro Tem. It was a difficult year. We're really a lot of in-person events for about the first 2/3 of the year, but I really enjoyed going out and meeting with the community during the last third. Unfortunately, given the pandemic, a lot of things are back to virtual. Just want to echo Councilwoman Rogers' sentiments regarding the vaccine and your booster. If you haven't, please get vaccinated, please get boosted. I've done all three and I feel completely great, and it's good having that extra protection. You can still get it, but I think it's like driving a car. If I get in a car accident, I'd rather have a seatbelt and airbags and not be protected. Just want to wish everyone a happy new year. Hope everyone is looking forward to this new year. It's been an amazing last year. Given the Zoom meeting, I know it may have seemed like I was over talking some of my colleagues, and I apologize if I offended anyone. It's just, I think being in a different room and getting real passionate about certain items, I just can't help it. As if I'm over talking anyone. So I apologize if I offended anyone regarding that. Want to wish everyone a happy Martin Luther King Jr. Day. January 15th would have been Martin Luther King Jr.'s 93rd birthday. I know we celebrated every third Monday in January. So as the day approaches, please take time to commemorate his legacy. Read the I Have a Dream speech. Read the letter from a Birmingham jail. Read all of his other speeches. Go on YouTube. They're all available for free. And the prize series, parts of that are available on the PBS website along with YouTube. So I think it's important as we move further and further from his birthday, as he moves in immortality. You know, used to be, you say, oh, MLK, he would be 70 if he was still alive, or he would be, we're hitting to the point now where a lot of his contemporaries have now passed on. I think it's important to pass it on to the newer generation. We had the opportunity to attend the RCA, the Western Riverside Conservation Authority meeting with all the other cities of Western Riverside County, where we want to go in direction of ensuring that we're collecting more pieces of the land for the habitat protection and possibly opening up certain areas for responsible recreation. So I look forward to serving on that board for another year, and I thank my colleagues for entrusting me on that board for the next year. I just want to congratulate everyone for a year well served, and congratulate staff for doing an excellent job given all the trying that more recent Omicron. Once again, everyone stay safe, continue to mask, continue to social distance, and please get vaccinated if you are not. Thank you.
Thank you. Mayor Pro Tem Corona.
Thank you, Mayor. I want to start out by wishing everybody in our city and our staff a happy new year. This year has already started with challenges, but I do have faith that we will overcome these challenges. I want to thank Councilman Rabb for for doing a great job of serving Mayor Pro Tem for this last year. It was a challenging year, but I think he did a great job. I want to thank my colleagues for trusting me in this position for this upcoming year, and thank you for the comments as well. The RTA, which I sit on the RTA, the Riverside Transit Authority with the buses. They do have a new CEO. The last CEO did retire, Larry Rubio, after close to 40 years in service for transportation. He finally retired, and they actually elected a brand new CEO, Kristen Wierzinski, and she is the first female and I believe the youngest CEO to ever serve on the RTA CEO. Lastly, I would like to advise our residents to be extra cautious, especially during the holiday. I mean, I know the holiday season kind of passed, but it's still kind of going on. With people asking for donations, especially at the corners of Nuevo Road and Paris Boulevard, there have been several groups of mostly young people at the corners of Paris Boulevard and Nuevo Road who stand there asking for money, oftentimes impeding traffic, going into traffic. But I do want you to be aware that some of these same groups, they'll go from one city, and then they'll be in Rialto a few hours later, and then they'll be in Moreno Valley, and then they'll be in Elsinore, and they kind of just travel around. And under the same guise of hey, we want donations for this little kid that has cancer or somebody's funeral. But I want you to be aware that oftentimes it's a scam. So I do want to ask that staff work with law enforcement to do our best to keep these individuals away from our city. In the past, cities such as Grand Terrace and Beaumont have actually made arrests regarding these scammers. So if we could kind of look into that. But that's all the comments that I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, thank you for outgoing Mayor Pro Tem Rab for your service during the last year, and welcome again, Mayor Pro Tem Corona.
Thank you.
Will be another challenging year again, but it'll be good. We had Happy New Year's to everybody, first of all, and we had a great chamber jingle mingle before the end of the year. Councilman, Mayor Pro Tem at that time, Rab, and Councilman Corona were in attendance as well. We had a lot of staff members, and we really had a really nice event, very well attended. It was a good one. Senior Holiday Luncheon, thank you, staff, again, for putting an enormous program for our seniors. It's always a blessing to be there to break bread with our seniors. I love our seniors, and we do so much with them, so it's always a pleasure to be there with them. I was invited to Love for Life. It's a great nonprofit organization here for anti-suicide and bullying programs. They have their new office space across the street from City Hall, which has been well overdue. For they do have some sessions with their folks that help our youth in our city, so that's really a plus for them. Another community event, Breakfast with Santa, well done again, considering what's going on lately. Bangladesh 50th Victory Day Parade. That was an interesting and fun event. I went along and I dragged our deputy city manager along with me, Ernie Reyna. We both went to LA. They had a fantastic program there. It started about 10 in the morning till about 10 at night. We didn't stay till 10 at night, but we appreciate the Bangladesh community for inviting us to that event. I was one of their parade marshals. It was a lot of fun. New Year's Eve was, I meant to talk to you guys privately, but it was pretty quiet in the North End. We had our fair share of fireworks and what else, but it didn't carry on. I think the very next night I had one firework went off and that was it. So I'm very pleased that we had a calm evening, or a week I should say. I'll check with our chief after the meeting how it went citywide. And lastly, staff, I'm calling it a street light campaign. I would like staff this may have to go out to consultant agencies. I don't know, come back, let us know, but we're not archaic out here in the city of Paris, and yet we still have streets, and this has been brought up by many of us numerous times about the darkness in our streets. I think we need to put this to rest. We have monies in different pockets that we can look at, but I think what's important is for us to first at least do an assessment. Gather all the streets you've heard over the course of the year from us that are dark, that we've had fatalities on, accidents, vehicle versus peds, vehicle versus bicycles, what have you. I'm not going to say that the streetlight's going to prevent it, but it will definitely help it. But our city should not be dark. And there are some streets that are very dark. There are some streets that don't even have light poles where we can put a pole. So we're gonna have to dig holes and trenches and put pole, whatever it is we gotta do. I'd like us to just get this done. Let's do a campaign, figure out how much it's gonna cost and bring it back to the council and see if we can get this done. We shouldn't have dirt roads either. We are not county, we are not rural areas. We are a city, and we should not have dirt roads and black streets, dark streets, I should say. Okay, with that, we are going to move to item 14, our city manager's report.
Thank you, Mayor. Happy New Year to everyone. I'd like to announce that the testing site on campus here at the council chambers has a new schedule. Effective this Thursday, the new hours are Thursday through Monday from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. and will be closed on Tuesdays and Wednesdays. Walk-ins and appointments are welcome, and you can visit lhi.care to register or call the number on the website. In regards to upcoming events, I'd like to notify everyone that the composting workshop at the Paris Green City Farm has been canceled. Riverside County has been suspending activities that are run by the county, and this is one of those events. However, the Geared Up biking event is still on, and it's still scheduled to take place on Saturday, January 22nd at 8 a.m. at Lake Paris. There are 2 bike rides, the Advanced 9-mile bike ride and a 3-mile family bike ride. And finally, I'd like to congratulate Mayor Pro Tem Corona and also thank Councilman Rabb for his tenure as Mayor Pro Tem this past year. Thank you. That concludes my report.
Okay, before we close, council, just a reminder, it may be tedious, but if you please redirect your comments of blackout areas, let's all send them to our city manager so she can gather that intel when we move forward. Because this way, hopefully we can get a thorough report, because someone sooner or later is going to have to drive through this whole city to identify these areas too, but we can at least help out by pointing out areas that you guys live in that you know. Okay, that being said, we're going to go to item 15. Unfortunately, that's our adjournment. I hate to see you all leave, but thank you for hanging out with us this evening. I don't think we were on Channel 3 yet. We're working on that diligently. Hopefully, next meeting, folks, I don't know, but there is a link on our website to get to view us on YouTube and Facebook, I believe, so you still don't have to really truly miss out from Channel 3, but stay safe, everyone, please. We're dealing with this Omicron, and, keep your mask on, get vaccinated, get tested. I get tested weekly. Doesn't hurt, folks, to be safe. Thank you. Have a good evening.